to the Renee Allen and Friends show, and I have a friend next to me indeed. That is the voice of DC, Rick Bernstein. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Renee. Thanks for having me.
Did y'all hear that voice?
The industry of voiceover, and it's something that I immediately was drawn to. I've been a professional voice talent for going on 6 years now.
Wow,
and so really the voice of DC is just my love and affinity for this area, my attachment for this area. If I got real detailed, I could say it's the voice of diction, of clarity, of other things. It could stand for multiple things, but really it's more of a geographic, my attachment to this area.
I love it. I love it. You know, I met you, and I want to talk to the WLVS listeners a little bit about why he's here. It's not just because we're hosting together. Matter of fact, I had a different guest, and we moved that guest to April so I could have him here before the pageant. Yes,
oh,
yes.
Renee.
And I'm very transparent.
Thank you.
I actually sponsored a young lady 2 years ago at the Mrs. DC America pageant. And when I arrived, I did not know Rick. He was the announcer, okay, the big daddy, right? But he didn't act that way. I was walking down the aisle, and I said, well, where's Raquel? Could you help me? He didn't say, oh, ask someone else. He was very transparent, very nice, warm, just warm and fuzzy, and walked me to Raquel. That impressed me. I didn't know that he was the announcer and all that he had on his shoulders that evening, which is a lot, until later on. So I had so much respect and love for him. So that geographical, that love all you have, I felt that night. So
well,
this is serious. This is for real.
Yeah, and that's, again, it was back to my first quote-unquote sales job being selling a university and the experience it involved. I mean, the Mrs. DC pageant is an amazing place as a community for, we've all got things, we've got family, we've got work, we've got a lot going on, but it's a chance to just take one night to just kind of forget about that and just be a part of something that's big, that's local. These are women who have just achieved amazing things, and they have incredible platforms to promote. And that's very sweet of you. I appreciate that. But I'm just I don't really bring a lot of ego to the job. I just enjoy what I do. I want to be easy to work with, and so it's been a great organization to be attached to, and that I really appreciate that.
My kind of human being, really, really. I mean, just like-minded people. I watched him with the ladies as well. Very respectful. You know, in this industry, it can get kind of catty, and it can get kind of bullyish, right? Because people want...
It's competitive.
Yeah.
It's a competition.
Talk about that a little. Talk about the bad part first.
Well, I think anytime you've got a competition of anything, you want to bring your A game and you want to bring your best. And I think there's an element, and I deal with it in voiceover too, where it's subjective. There's a huge subjective element to it where, what you feel is you're bringing your best might not be the same in someone else's eyes. And so you've got to have that thick skin about it. And when you come on, I would say if there have been any events in the past, I would say it's just not being prepared for that, being prepared for whether it's rejection, whether it's, different opinions, or like you said, the cattiness and that kind of thing. I think as a contestant, you're going to be best served focusing on yourself, bringing your best out there. And I think that's going to come out to the judges and the audience who's there. So, but yeah, it is. Again, we're competitive people. I think we do this. I'm competitive in my line of work. And certainly, I'm going to be that dad on the sideline that's real, cheering my son on to do his best. So I think it's good. I think it brings out the best in people, but it can bring out some of the not so great things as well.
Right.
So,
and tell us some of the good things.
Well,
in your industry as well as a pageant.
Well, in my industry, I get to work with organizations. I do a lot of corporate narration. I do e-learning, educational learning. Nice. I do medical narration. I was in the medical device industry for over 10 years. So what's great is that I get to not only hear or listen and hear the vision of that corporate client, but be able to interpret it, connect with it, and then really I get to be the messenger for their organization, and that's very powerful. I mean, to be able to speak on behalf of an organization, whether it's through a quick promotion or a commercial, a trailer of some kind. I've done, iPhone apps, but you are controlling the message of that company, and so there's a lot of power in that, and you really want to understand, who am I talking to? Who am I? From what point of view am I coming from, and what do I want them to know about the product? And it's just a challenging to be able to take words off of a page and bring them to life. It's challenging, it's creative. So for me, it's just been a wonderful thing to be involved with. And again, I started from scratch. I mean, this was something that, I really just took my voice and my initiation and my, love of communication and connection with people to build the Voice of DC.
Well, you do it so well, and how perfect you are the voice, because that is an extension of what they want, your voiceover, and that is really what they hear and what touches their heartstrings, right?
It is. It's, a message, a commercial, anything, it's a combination. There's visual that draws you in visually, but there's also that audio sound, are you connecting with it? And certainly, the wrong voice with a certain project, can stand out. And so I think, and there's studies been done, there's percentages of just how much more people retain from a certain commercial based on how it's conveyed just through the voiceover as well as visually. So
correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought if it's a nice voice, they connect about 20%.
Yeah, well, it is. Yeah, it's 20% or more. Yeah, so it's really, it's pretty. The visual is what really catches people. But if you're in the car like I am, I listen to Sirius XM as well as
nice
WLVS. Okay.
Yeah.
But it really is. It's one of those things that, and certainly as a professional voice talent, I want to kind of learn some tricks of the trade. So I find myself actually listening to commercials that normally you want to fast forward through. To really, that's my research. That's kind of how I'm kind of learning. But there's a lot of work involved in this field, in this industry, and so there are definitely some things about it that I would caution people about before they really took the plunge.
Questions